have some trivia for you on a Wednesday morning. Do you know what the word spraker means? It's an ancient Icelandic word. It means extraordinary or outstanding women. And I would put our next guest into that category. Eliza Reid is the Canadian-born First Lady of Iceland. She's held that position since August of 2016, using her platform to amplify gender equality and women's voices on the global stage. She's also a big fan of literature, having already written one book and another is on the way. Eliza Reid is joining us in studio this morning. Welcome back. A great pleasure to have you here.
Nice to see you again.
We put up some pictures of home. How do you feel?
It's a little warmer here, though, than it is in Iceland right now.
You picked a hot one to you picked a hot one to show up. The last time for your book, which is called Secrets of Spraker, right, where you were talking about what Iceland is doing right in terms of gender equality. And I remember the story that you shared about you moved to Iceland. You're sitting in this meeting, and this woman starts breastfeeding. This is a woman chairing the meeting, and nobody batted an eye. And then I understand that the same woman just won the presidential election.
I know.
This month. She's the new incoming president.
That's right.
What does this tell you? What kind of statement does
I guess, first of all, it tells you that Iceland is a small country.
Okay.
We don't have a big population, that we run into each other a lot. But, that moment sticks in my mind because that was over 20 years ago when I first moved to Iceland. I was a woman in my 20s, kids not really on my radar at this stage yet. And as you said, seeing a woman in a tech company chairing a meeting, just breastfeeding your baby, and nobody cares, and it doesn't matter. And it really stuck with me, and that's why I put it as the sort of opening anecdote in Secrets of the Spraker. And then it's kind of an interesting full circle that my husband was elected president. His term is coming to an end. We had the elections at the beginning of June, which had, I might add, 50% female candidates.
This is amazing. We're going to talk about that in a moment.
Yeah. So, and Hatla, who I know won and will take office on the 1st of August. So it's all very exciting for us.
So that example is just one because Iceland consistently ranks first in the world for gender equality. The election earlier this month had 3 women as its top contenders. It has the highest level of female participation in the workforce. There's been a female chief of police, a female bishop of the national church. What does all of that tell you? What can we learn from Iceland?
If I have to say it in a nutshell, in a short interview, I'd say one of the key things is that in Iceland, we realized that working towards greater gender equality is something that benefits people of all genders and everyone in society. So it's not some zero-sum game where you're taking something from one group to give it to another group. It's just another method, another matrix of really ensuring that everyone can fulfill their greatest potential in society. And it's like I say, we've passed the tipping point in Iceland of debating whether or not this is an important objective, but how we are going to get there. And there's plenty of healthy debate on that.
Yeah, and so, Eliza, what do you think then when you look towards Canada or the U.S. and you see these conflicts that still arise around this issue?
It's I think, again, one of those things is just that fundamental debate of people thinking we're trying to take something from one group or give it to another. And I think really, more gender equal societies are societies that are happier, more peaceful, have longer living populations for people of all genders. So it's something that I think the statistics and the data back up for everybody. And as you get closer to it, as you inch closer to it, I think that the visibility in all different facets of society, and you mentioned presidential elections, and in political society, that's a big one for Iceland. That World Economic Forum report was just reissued last week, which Iceland topped again. We're 97% there, closing the gender gap when it comes to political representation.
Wow.
Which is really, really important. And I think it's that visibility, which is important, and just remembering that this isn't going to happen on its own accord.
Yeah.
You always have to keep your eyes on the prize.
You are now at the stage in your career where you can look back and take stock. We were looking back at your inauguration. You've met so many world leaders. You've traveled around the world. What are some of the things that you are most proud of with this platform?
Oh, well, it is incredible, as you say, to kind of take stock and look back. I would add that I hope, I'm pretty young still, and I hope this is just the beginning of leveraging that platform and leveraging this experience that I've had to be able to continue to do more good. But I think what really stands out, I guess, a couple of things. Personally, for me, it's really been the opportunity to use the platform and be happy that I've used my voice and I've tried to kind of confound outdated expectations about what a female spouse of a male head of state is supposed to be doing and what she's supposed to be saying. And generally, it's that cliche, it's really made me more of an optimist because I've had this incredible privilege of traveling the world, but traveling Iceland as well, and meeting people from all walks of life and seeing so many different people doing so much for our society there and everywhere else. It makes me a believer in humanity. And I think these days we could use a lot of that.
I agree with you. Listen, you are Canadian-born, which means You could run for politics here in Canada. So have you considered it? Have you been tapped at all?
Well, we'll see. Maybe there'll be a number of people writing in there, and we'll see what happens. I haven't thought about it yet, but I'm excited about the future. There's a lot coming up. Just I have another book coming up next year, and
Can you tell us really briefly about that?
Yeah, it's a murder mystery. It's called Death of a Diplomat. It's kind of a mix of like Agatha Christie style, but set in Iceland with Nordic noir influences.
With political ties mixed in there.
Yeah, there's Canadians in it, there's Icelanders in it, and it's been pretty fun to write, so.
We started this interview with trivia. I'm gonna end it with some trivia that you and Teddy Wilson, who viewers of the show will be familiar with, went to high school together.
Yes.
And not only that, like, did you go to band camp playing trumpet?
We both played the trumpet in high school just outside of Ottawa. And I don't know, maybe if you have me on the show again, we can have like a trumpet off. I don't know. I haven't played in 30-something years.
I bet Teddy would be down for that. Eliza Reid, we had you on in the first year, your first term, so it's a real pleasure to have you back here again today. We look forward to more conversations.
Thank you so much.
Let me know when you run for politics in Canada. All right.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for being here.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you liked this, be sure to subscribe here, or you can check out more Your Morning videos right here.